What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet. The brother who told you not to believe these AI videos, but you did it anyway, and now it's got you out here attacking your own people. And I am black up in your face again with some more pro black commentary. So let me just say, first and foremost, the reason you have not seen me is because YouTube put me on suspension. That's right. I was put on a suspension because my last video that I did about Officer Tatum was deemed as harassment and cyberbullying. So YouTube said I was being very mean to Officer Tatum, and they took the video down and they put me on suspension. Now, once again, people like Officer Tatum and the other MAGA minstrels out there, they can say whatever they want about black people. They can even use the N word. They can even use the B word in reference to black women. But that's not considered hate speech, harassment, or cyberbullying. But when I say something against them in retaliation for the things that they say about us, that is triggers YouTube to not only take my video down, but to suspend me from the platform. So that's what it is. If you want to see the video that caused so much controversy, you can go to my Patreon at the Black Up in Your Patreon. The link will be in the comments section. You can follow that there and go watch the video for yourself and see how terrible it is and how much cyberbullying it is. So now that's out of the way, I like to get started back with doing videos on a regular basis. And the thing that I want to start out with is talking about some of these AI videos that I've seen of where it's black women or black men talking about their EBT or their welfare or their food stamp benefits, right? So everyone knows because of the government shutdown that a lot of these food stamp benefits and EBT and SNAP, a lot of that got cut off in a lot of different states. Now, it's called different things depending on what state you're in. Okay, so sometimes it might be EBT, sometimes it might be called SNAP. Maybe your state has a different version or a different name for it. So just, public assistance basically, right? And because of the shutdown, the government shutdown, a lot of that stuff got cut off. But what you have is a lot of propaganda being put out there, and it's mostly by white supremacists where they take AI and they use it to create videos, completely fake videos of, black women talking about, their food stamps, or, they'll talk about how they don't really even use the food stamps, that they go and sell them and use it to buy other stuff that they're not supposed to be buying or whatnot. They got, videos of black males saying the same thing, but these videos, once again, are completely fake. And there's a couple of things that I find interesting about these things. And one, and this is the most important thing that I want you all to understand when it comes to white supremacy and the war of propaganda that it uses against black people, is that whatever new technology that they can get a hold of, the first thing they think to use it for is for their own racist purposes. Like you notice that anytime they create a new technology that can convey images and audio, the first thing they think to do with it is to use it for racist purposes. If it's not being used for sexual gratification, right? Because you think about the porno industry, they'll use it for some sort of race propaganda. Like if you think about the history of stage performances, so they as soon as they came up with that, that's when they all of a sudden wanted to start doing minstrel shows, where these minstrel shows would be out there having white people dressed up in blackface and wigs and talking crazy and just making black people seem like they're utterly stupid, or like they are meant to be abused, right? When they came up with the film industry, one of the first things they thought to do was make movies like A Birth of a Nation, where it shows black people in a disgusting light, as if black people are just going to come and take over Congress, or black people are just going to come to the South and start raping white women, right? And the Ku Klux Klan will be the only people out here who can save us. As soon as they started having animation, now animation is an old art form, but as soon as they got a hold of it, they started making these racist cartoons. They started drawing black people with these big old lips and eyes and whatnot and dark skin, doing all types of humiliating things, right? Even some of these cartoons are classic, or they'll put black stereotypes in these classic cartoons with classic characters like Bugs Bunny, right? So it's something that is part of their culture. We talked about the culture wars, quote unquote, but this is part of their culture, is to be racist against black people, you know whether black people are doing anything or not. That's the thing. Like they always try to make it seem as if they're doing something against black people just because black people are doing something wrong, just for basically existing. But black people don't really have to be doing anything but living their lives in order for these people to want to try to castigate us or show us in a bad light. So with the creation of AI, where you can just basically create fake videos out of anywhere, of course, the first thing that they decide to do is make stereotypical images of black people, right? And of course, with the social media technology combined with that, you got easy access to spread this type of nonsense around. So people will take these videos and put them all over TikTok and Facebook. And what's really disturbing is when you see black people pass these things around as if they are real. Like, I've noticed that almost down the line, when it's black people who are from America, black people will, if they repost this video, they'll be talking over it and letting you know that it's fake, and also letting you know that this is just basically racism. But there are black people who either their families or they themselves are not from here. They're from the diaspora, who will pass these videos around and make it seem as if it's real, or even if they recognize that it's fake, they'll say that the stereotype itself is real, right? That it's okay because these black women are abusing the welfare system, or they're abusing food stamps, or whatever, right? And it's like I said, it's propaganda being used to justify hurting us, which is interesting because if you do any type of real research and you research the real stats, you find that the majority of people who are on welfare is white people. That's the way it's always been. White people have always gotten welfare and public assistance and food stamps and everything like that. And they're the ones who make up the bulk of that system. But anytime anyone talks about it, the first thing they put out there is these images of poor black women. Is always a big black mammy with a messed up hair, or a hair net, or a bonnet on, and she's got a whole bunch of kids, snotty-nosed kids running around her, right? It's always that image, right? And to the point where even black people have accepted that as that must be the way things truly are, even though there might have been a situation in your own life where your family needed public assistance or food stamps or whatever. Do you feel that that's an accurate portrayal of your mother or your aunt or your sister or whoever that needed that to take care of you, right? So I always wonder, like, when black people, when they perpetuate these types of stereotypes and make it seem like it's okay to perpetuate these stereotypes, that they realize who they're talking about. Because to be honest, I don't really see anything wrong with someone needing assistance. All right, I don't think, because people go through things. That's just life in this country. If you, especially within like I would say the last 30 years or so, no one should be getting made fun of for being on some sort of public assistance, because there's no way, it's hard to have a consistent job in this economy. Like, I don't see like why you would make fun of somebody for wanting to survive, basically, right? And once again, if there are people out here, and you can get into the whole argument as to, well, they made poor decisions or whatever, but sometimes it's not like that. Sometimes it doesn't matter what decision you make. You can be doing the right thing. And I'm coming to you telling you this as someone who has worked in corporate America, who has worked blue collar. You can be doing the right thing and still find yourself without a job or find yourself without any type of housing. Now, while me personally, I've never been on any type of public assistance, nor has my wife. Like, we've been very fortunate that we've always been able to scrounge some money together where we never had to go through the government. But there are people out there that are not as fortunate as we are, or who don't have the resources that we do. So it's tough to always put it on people saying, like, well, you're a failure at life because you need public assistance. That's, once again, that's not always the case, and I don't like to do that. There was a time in my life where I did think that way, but once I started doing like reading and doing actual research, I found out the truth is the biggest welfare mamas out there and the people who get the most government assistance are rich people. Rich people who run these banks or who run these corporations, they're the ones who get the most government assistance. And they're the ones who are truly the real abusers of this system. You remember when Obama first got into office and they had all those banks that had caused the housing bubble to burst? They said that they were too big to fail. They said like they made it seem as if they didn't get a handout, the economy was going to collapse, and they really needed that money from the government. Now, they didn't follow any type of regulatory rules. They did anything that they wanted to do. They had predatory loans and everything else. But when push came to shove, they begged the government for money, and the government gave it to them, and that didn't help the economy at all. All right, the economy was still in the hole, and people still were out of a job. We were in a recession at that time. Remember that? So, even when they do get money and they beg for help and say, like, the world is going to come to an end if we don't get any money from the government, things still go bad. And the same thing is probably going to happen now too. Like, are you guys aware that Elon Musk the board of directors of Tesla just voted to make him a trillionaire? Like, if he meets certain deadlines and he hits certain milestones in the company's production, they'll give him $1 trillion. Like, what has he truly done to earn that? And where's that money coming from? Like, I don't even think people even like think about that. Like, where's that money even coming from? It's not coming from the company. The company doesn't just have that kind of money on hand, right? Like, I don't think people realize just the size of $1 trillion, right? But where that money is coming from is going to be coming from the government, because the government gives them subsidies and gives them all types of tax breaks, because he has conned them into making them think that he's some sort of genius and he's providing some sort of, better technology for the world, which he is not. Okay, I see Teslas all the time pulled over to the side of the road because they run out of power, and hear stories all the time of their batteries blowing up and whatnot. It's not even a good car, but the people only get it because of the whole prestige of the name of it, right? But even that is starting to wear thin, especially since Elon Musk making a fool of himself hanging out with Donald Trump. But once again, this man has not done anything. He's not creating jobs. In fact, he wants to lessen jobs. Both him and all these other tech oligarchs, they want to take jobs away and give those to AI, right? They want to have less people working for them, and they just want machines to do everything. So they're not even creating jobs or creating opportunities for anybody with these companies that they have. So once again, what are they doing to earn billions and trillions of dollars? And I already know some idiot's probably going to come to my channel and say, Mad Black, you sound like a socialist or whatever. But no, the true socialists, the people who truly live off the tit of the government, are these corporations. And they've convinced you, people who have to work for a living, they've convinced you that if you get some sort of public assistance, or if you think that, certain aspects of everyday life should be free, then that means you're a communist, you're a socialist, and you just want to live under some sort of totalitarian rule, when the truth of the matter is you're already living in very substandard totalitarian situation with the way this government already is operated. Once again, the corporations, these rich oligarchs, they suck up all the money, and then they make it seem like there's something wrong with you if you want some public assistance so you can feed your children. That's nonsense. But, a lot of people don't seem to get that. They just follow along with the propaganda that's put out there. So we're going to talk more about that. But, if you've seen some of these AI videos where, it's like some, black mammy, or, just some black woman with a whole bunch of kids, or some black man talking about their food stamps, let me know in the comments section. I would love to hear what you have to say about that. And once again, if I ever get, banned, or if I ever get put on suspension again, you can always find me on my Facebook, and you can always find me on the Patreon. The links will be down below in the comments section. Anyway, this is Mad Black, and I most definitely will be back with my foot on a devil's back.